There we go. All right, I think we are all set. Well, it's really nice to see you all. I hope you enjoyed that incredible performance. What a beautiful, beautiful production between the choreography, the costumes, the dancers themselves were so elegant and beautiful, and then the music behind it, you know, Kathy's beautiful music, and the videography, putting it all together, you know, Peter's artistic flair. What just a beautiful production all the way around. I just have to congratulate everybody involved. Thank you so much for putting so much work and effort into a fabulous, fabulous production. I didn't introduce myself. I think you all know me, but I'm Jean Connolly. I'm the chair of the Center for the Arts. I'm honored to be part of this amazing organization and to work with so many talented and creative individuals and arts organizations like the Kearsarge Conservatory of the Performing Arts, all the students who are so talented and work so hard to put on these productions for our community and for themselves, but for our community, there's a self-worth there, and for working with people at the Center for the Arts to make this all happen, and to continue bringing the arts to our community in spite of the pandemic. We do see a light at the end of the tunnel, and we can't wait to get together with everyone soon live, but we're so happy that you were able to join us for another virtual First Friday. So let me introduce the captain of the team here, Angela. Would you like to say a few words to all of us, and then you can take it from there.
First of all, thank you, everybody. I just think that there's been, you know, so much talk about what we haven't been able to do since COVID, and what we lost and what we miss. And so my whole perspective on this performance was to focus on what we can still do, and the fact that we love arts and we love to dance and we have passion for it, and we're still creative people, and we're still viable, amazing human beings that, you know, want to share all of what we love with one another. And so that is sort of how I launched the approach to this. I had been listening to Kathy's music for a while. Last year, I had decided to do her whole app. Kathy, where are you? There you are. Kathy Lowe. Two of the pieces today are hers. One I started last year, was almost finished, and I decided to leave it as it is because it's a piece that we have to touch each other, you know, and there's some partnering and stuff. So I'm leaving that one till COVID is over. But what I found with Kathy's music, I just feel like it brings a lot of peace. And when I heard, I look for peace, I think that is a message that we need to hear right now in COVID, and a message that we need to hear with Black Lives Matters, and a message that we need to hear, you know, just in the state of things as we miss one another, and, you know, we're still social distancing. So I just felt that song, it was like she was sort of a prophet and wrote it way ahead of the time for such a time as this. And so when I heard that, I'm like, I've got to do that song. And then I thought, I missed the lights. You know, when I choreograph, I see the lights, I see the sets, I see all of this. And so I thought, oh, well, since we're videoing, and God love Peter, I'm like, this song has so many different feelings to it. Let's just change costumes with every scene. You know, and let's add props because, you know, and so it came across exactly how I had planned. And also I can't tell you how difficult it was to choreograph, number one, and everybody in there's little squares. It's difficult to communicate in masks, I will tell you that. But we did it, and it is what Peter did. Peter is a magician. I mean, he's magical. That is really hard to do what he did, and he made it look flawless. So I think I might just turn this over right now to Kathy and Peter to start out with on your end of this whole project, because you were such an important part of it.
Thank you, Angela. So cool. So I wanted to say too that when I sang my original compositions into the water tank, which is, it holds 1 million gallons of water for New London and Springfield area. I never thought that it would come to this place where sound became motion. And I am just so taken right now. I can't tell you. So, so water is nourishing, and then sound goes into the water, and sound becomes motion and movement. And that's the flow of water again. So thank you, Angela. Thank you so much.
Kathy, could you describe, some of the people don't know your process in the water tank. Could you describe that a little bit? We all got
Yeah.
the benefits of the end result, but how?
Right. It holds 1 million gallons of water to serve New London and Springfield, New Hampshire. And it's up behind Twin Lake Villa on Morgan Hill Road.
A mile into the woods.
A mile into the woods. And I would go in there with my little recorder, and I sang into the overflow valve. I was not inside the tank, but I sang into the overflow valve, which is a big wide pipe that goes straight into the tank and then vertically up. So if the water gets really high, the water comes down through the tank, and then they don't overflow the tank. So that was this huge vessel that could carry sound and just make this echo that I could sing with myself, and my voice would travel forever. And I just got so taken by that process.
It's beautiful.
And that was 10 years ago when I did that CD.
Wow.
She did it in the winter, so she cross-country skied up there with her recording equipment. She used her cross-country ski poles as mic stands.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the drip sounds are the natural condensation dripping from the roof of the tank into the water below.
That's amazing. Wow.
Kathy, whatever gave you the idea to do that?
Well, Peter and I were skiing around there with other friends, and we went by the tank, and I just went up to the overflow valve, which is this big circle, about this big on the side of the tank. And I listened, and I heard those reverberated condensation sounds. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is that? And I just went, whoo! I made a sound into that cavern, and it just lasted forever and came back to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to come back here and explore this experience.
Well, we're glad you did, because the outcome was fabulous.
Yeah. So to have, for art forms to go from one manifestation level to another, that's what I'm so enthralled about, to have done that project and then to see it move. So now that sound moves, and it moves me so deeply.
Well, with before I even knew your whole process, when I heard Udu Drip Jam, I just started seeing. I've been to Carlsbad Cavern several times. I lived in Albuquerque as a kid, and so when I first heard Udu Drip Jam, I just started seeing all these visions inside a cave, and I saw water dripping down the walls. I saw, the water bubbling up from the ground, like from hot water. I saw like other caves, like pictograms, and and all of these ancient things. And so it took me a while. I knew it was in a cave, but Journey Through the Caves kind of came as a journey to get the title of the piece, kind of as we worked on it. And I was really proud of my company. There was a lot of body work in that. A lot of body work in that. And what's exciting to me is we did all of this. We started this in January, so we literally had 5 weeks of rehearsal. And so I can't wait to see what it's going to become as we're able to tighten and, and clean you even more. So I'm just very proud of everybody. But now that I understand where your journey came from, Kathy, you really got the idea, the feeling across of like being inside a cavern or a cave, because that's the first thing I heard. The way I choreograph is I listen to music and it's all in my head. And my poor dancers, I get in there, I don't write anything down until I see it on their bodies. And sometimes I'm go, we got to do this. And they're like, my leg, I can't do it that fast, or I can't do it that slow. So we work together, and then I don't actually write anything down or video anything until it's finished. That's just, I work backwards as a choreographer than a lot of people. But I'd like to hear from you, Peter, because you were just so amazing.
Well, the two things that come to mind quickly are, one is, I'll make you blush probably, Angela, but between working on the Messiah production and then working on this, it's been fascinating to watch you and your company of dancers and how you treat everyone as professionals, and yet you're really tuned into what they need as people. And that whole interaction in the little community of dancers you've created is just wonderful to watch and have a peripheral part in. And for me filming it, the two interesting challenges, one was I was using a handheld gimbal stabilized camera to move around the space while they were dancing. And I'm not a dancer, but I felt like the camera was dancing with the dancers a little bit. And I ended up, because we did several takes of, at least 2 takes of almost every dance, I ended up with a lot of different, they're called angles, a lot of different views of the same thing. And the editing process of trying to pick which clip to use at each moment to see what's best, to maybe avoid something that we didn't want to see, or was fun for me to learn. And it seemed to fit very well with what you were doing. So
Yeah, I think Peter and I are both perfectionists. So I'm like, Peter, their right, left eyebrow, side hair is showing. Can we fix that? So we both had to sort of like slap our wrists and go, stop it, stop it. If it was a real performance, we wouldn't be able to fix as many things as we actually did.
You know, you know,
Sue.
I was wondering about that because Peter, you seem to know where to go throughout the movement of the dance. And I'm thinking, did he have to study it first before he, recorded it? Because you even recorded the small movements. And I'm thinking, how did he know that they were, going to do that? And so it absolutely fascinated me. And it really speaks to the genius of both of you, Angela and Peter. It just was absolutely a stunning experience to see. So it was like magic to me. And how did you do that? Did you see them first?
I didn't see any rehearsals.
Oh.
In most cases, Angela, I think maybe one of them we did 3 times, but mostly we did them 2 times. And sometimes Angela or one of the dancers would help me out by saying, we don't go into this square, so you can walk into that one. But it's interesting, just the instinct of watching the dancers, you sort of develop an instinct about they might move to the right from this position. Sometimes that's because there's a wall on the left, so you can kind of guess they're not going that direction. And sometimes I get it wrong, but if I have enough different angles of things, I can find something that captures the dancers but it's fun to try to just create an instinct about where they're going to go. And
there was a couple of times that Peter said, okay, tell me where they're going. And I go, right, left. Because with all of the songs, except for the musical theater pieces, we were able to, he was able to use the music and put it, how do you say, put it right into not have it, the music live, but actually embed it into the video. With the 2 musical theater pieces. And I will say, I'm really proud of both Allison, Saoirse, and Christy, because that space is not made to do what we ask it to do. The acoustics in there are horrible. We have some things on the wall to try to help a little bit, but try to balance their voices and then them to be able to hear the music, us to be able to hear the tap sounds. Honestly, it was a crapshoot, and we did the best that we could with what we had. And I was very proud of what we came up with, but that was super hard on those 3 people. So I'd like to just give them a good job on a difficult kind of situation. I would actually now kind of like to move, and I'd like to hear from some of the performers and choreographers, besides myself, because I tend to kind of take over these things. It's just my personality. But I want to make sure that everybody is able to say anything else that they would like to. What was your favorite parts, or is there anybody you want to say thank you to, or who wants to go first? If not, I'll just point to you and say, go. Saoirse.
Just unmute.
Unmute yourself. This is Saoirse. She's actually the only student that is in our younger company. She's in our young performers company, and she's having to just been thrown in with the big dogs. And so let's see what you have to say about that, Saoirse.
Well, it's definitely fun being able to be in my levels and then older levels, because it's fun having like a challenge and then something that's at my own pace. And it definitely helps having the older girls being able to watch them sometimes if I can't figure things out, and that they can do all the moves that sometimes I can't really pull off. And it's fun because I like knowing like almost all of the people in the studio, and being able to be in like sometimes I go in the younger group if I have to like make up a class. So I pretty much have bounced around in every level, and it's definitely fun seeing the different levels and how they can help me be a better dancer.
Wonderful.
Anybody else? Let's see, who is that? Is that Allison? So yeah, good. You're kind of dark. Go ahead, Allison.
Well, I first want to say thank you to Center for the Arts for this amazing opportunity. I know I'll speak for all of the dancers when I say moments like this are really appreciated. We don't really get to perform with COVID right now, and just this opportunity really allowed us to do so many dances, so many different new things. So thank you so much. I'd also like to congratulate Saoirse. Like, it's really hard, especially at her age. She's at that level where, you know, they're really grinding down on her. They're really getting to her about her technique, picking up, and she's handling it amazing. So good job, Saoirse. This whole process for me was very interesting because I did a solo, as you all saw, and I learned so many things from Mr. Chetty and Miss Christie and Miss Michelle, all the people who worked with me. And I want to go into the performing arts, and just having that time to really work on, especially a musical theater piece, meant a lot to me. So this whole experience was very interesting.
Anybody else?
If I could just take a moment to thank Saoirse and Allison and all the other dancers. You guys are amazing, and we're in awe of all the things that you do. So we just want to one more time applaud all of you.
Anybody else any of the other dancers would like to say anything? Miley, is that you trying to say something?
I see Elizabeth's hand up.
Oh, Elizabeth, go ahead, sweetheart.
Oh no. Okay. I want to thank Peter Block for helping, or for doing the camera work.
Okay. So Elizabeth, I'm going to help you out a little bit because I know this is not your favorite thing. What was it like dancing with a feather? Did it distract you? Did it help you? What was it like? Not only were you dancing with the feather, but I wanted you to be the feather. So tell us a little bit about that.
It was hard because at some points the feather had to move slower than what I was doing. It was interesting to use a prop like that.
Okay. All right. Good job, Elizabeth. Anybody else? Kylie, would you like to say something? This is your first big solo. How about you talk about that a minute?
It was definitely interesting not being able to dance on a stage, but it was a lot of fun being able to experience this. And the solo was really hard at some points, but also extremely fun.
Just so you guys know, that's kind of like a collegiate level solo. For how old are you? Are you still 11? Or are you 12? I never remember how old y'all all look 6. So how old are you, Kylie?
I'm 12.
She's 12 now. So that's a very, very mature solo. Actually, Sharon, can I put you on the spot real quick? Because I did not forward the email that you sent to me to everybody, because I was hoping that I could get you to kind of say in person those amazing, beautiful comments. It made me cry. I'll probably cry again. Would that be okay with you?
Sure, sure. So I'm the program manager, the new program manager for Center for the Arts. So I got to see the video a few days ago, and I sent a note to Peter and to Angela after I watched the video the first time. And I was a college professor and a director of theater for 26 years. So um, I know how much it means to me when people respond specifically to my work. So I kind of just took notes about all the beautiful things that moved me in your work. And one of the biggest things was that the amount of subtext and storytelling that you were doing in your dancing was phenomenal. Every single one of you took me to a place that doesn't usually happen when I'm watching film. It happens in live theater and live dance and live musical things, but lots of times film, because it has that wall, doesn't take me there, but it did. Um, you know, Angela's got the very specifics, and I don't want to leave anybody out tonight, so I'm not. I'm just going to sort of talk more general. But I could see the relationships between all of y'all in the duos and in the group numbers. That opening number was phenomenal, between the music and the costumes and the relation. And like, I watched the show tonight, and for the like I got more things tonight than I got the other night. And that's what's the beauty of our craft, is every time you go back to see it, you see new things. And so kudos to you all for doing what you did. It was beautiful. It made me forget that it was winter and COVID, and I was stuck in a house. And I haven't seen live people in a really long time, other than my husband. So thank you all so much.
Jenny, I want to ask you real quick too. This is the first time that we've done actually a what's called physical theater. It's not really dance. It's not really theater. It's not really mime. It's not really pantomime. It's a work all of its own. And a lot of people have reached out to me, just kind of really taken with Bojangles, with everything, but with Bojangles. So I'd like Chetty to talk about it a little bit, and then maybe Christy also talk about the process of performing it. So Chetty, are you able to talk to us?
So I come from a very rare piece of musical theater history, in the sense that I was able to directly work with people who worked with Bob Fosse directly. I was never able to work with him, but one of the first pieces that I was taught that got me my first Broadway credit was Mr. Bojangles. And the story in itself always touched my heart. But I actually learned the audition piece from Ann Reinking, who passed this past year. Sorry, I'm going to get emotional. So that part, like, even prior to this year, it's just always had a special place in my heart. And I love to share storytelling. That was the one piece in the show where it wasn't so technical, and I actually just got to perform. And I've always wanted to kind of recreate the piece. Not directly from the choreography that I learned, but I think it can become personal to whoever you put the piece on. So when I started it, I had this whole direction of where I was going to go with it. And then depending on who your dancers are, you just kind of start to feel out like where they're going with it and what they feel. And so it just kind of created itself. There's still more components to it that I want to add, if and when. But no, it was just one of those pieces. It's always been special and near and dear to me. Just the song itself. I'm a dog lover, and so if you delve into that piece of it, it gets to you. I love the story of a vagabond just trying to perform. There's many levels to it that I don't think now's the time to get into, but anyway, I started working with it with Miss Christie and Elizabeth and Allison. Due to COVID, it's a piece where, you know, I needed to be able to kind of interact with each other. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing the piece put on other people and maybe melding around with some other ideas, along with like live vocals, maybe a violin, maybe guitar. So that's still a piece in the works. But yeah, so with physical theater, it is physical theater, which I think is a very powerful piece of art because it kind of transcends dance and can really kind of just bring you into the soul. Anybody can recognize the soul, where sometimes it could be off put by perfect technique and all that stuff. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
I have to say, Chetty, it sounds like we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to some live performances.
I hope so.
So Christy, real quick, and then I want to get to Miley. I want to make sure, and then I definitely want to get to Georgie before we're done. I want to get to the former student who's moved on to college. But so Christy, what was it like doing physical theater, especially with Elizabeth, or not? I mean, you can talk about whatever, but I'm just giving you some food for thought. You're not mute. You're still muted.
No, I don't believe she is. No.
I have a new
Okay.
mic, so
Okay.
I have
There
to
you go.
push to talk apparently. So I actually came into the piece as understudy for Allison, and I'm a really good mimic. So, and it's hard for me to sometimes move away from mimicking what other people are doing. So when I'm an understudy, I have a tendency to perform the piece the way the person I'm understudying performs it. And one of the things that Chetty told me helped me actually kind of perform the piece better, because he said, you know, when he was doing it, there were different casts, and everybody who did the role would do it different, and that was okay. So I stopped trying to be Allison and decided to just try to focus more on just, you know, listening to the music and being Bojangles, or what I thought Bojangles in that piece would be. So that's just something that's a challenge. I'm not a natural actor at all. So it was a good challenge.
I will say this real quick before we move to Miley. Miss Christie, a few years ago, it was driving me crazy because my dancers were their faces were this. Sharon, you can understand what I'm talking about. Their physical bodies were amazing, but this is their face. So I said, you know, I have got to fix this. So I started requiring, I'm like, Kevin, you're an amazing acting teacher. We're going to start requiring company to do acting. And now it's their favorite class because he's way nicer than I am. They all love Mr. Kevin, and they all love the acting class. But I just got to give some kudos to Kevin, because since we started that process of requiring the acting class, I don't know however many years ago, it has made a huge difference. And I still think The one that's come the farthest, the one that's grown the most, let's go that way, is Christy, because when Christy first got to us, she was sort of a Vulcan, and now she's a human being. So we're happy about that. All right, Miley, I want to talk to you. I want to hear from you.
Cool about, oh, sorry, just one more
Okay.
thing
Yeah.
to interject. What's cool to really interject. So these girls come from a dance place first, and it's something that Kevin does work on, and me working with Kevin to work on this acting piece. So like the musicality, it's like, yeah, you get musicality, yeah, you can get count, but to draw a character out is a whole nother ball game. And so that's where, I mean, this particular piece, it falls under our musical theater program, in our theater program, really. So it's like Christy was saying, it's like, no, don't copy what someone else does. It may be great and that's wonderful, but do what you do. But one of the most important things that we actually try to do across the board, even in their ballet pieces, it's like, no, can you bring you to the table? Can you let us know how you perform that? So anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
No, that's great. All right, Miley. So this was your first big point solo. Your favorite ballet is Swan Lake. So we threw you into a seriously difficult senior piece, and this is your first year in, quote, big girl company. Tell us a little bit about what you thought.
I thought it was a big privilege. I enjoyed it, and I was so excited to be able to do my own solo. It was really exciting.
Yay. You did great. We're proud of you. Real quick before I go to Georgie, Nora, do you have anything to say to all of us? Because you're one of the ones that aren't in company right now. Nothing? Okay. So I'm gonna throw Georgie under the bus now, just because also, Georgie, what was it like to see Elizabeth do Chroma? And just anything else you want to say?
It was really exciting, especially since like I have the muscle memory. For people who don't know, I learned Elizabeth's part in Chroma and performed it with Christy a few years back for a few years. It was really exciting. I like wanted to get up and do it. Yeah, it was also just really exciting to see how Elizabeth, how you did it differently in your own way. What you added to the piece. There were a few lifts that Christy and I couldn't get that you both got and looked great. Yeah, it was exciting to see.
So Georgie, tell us a little bit about you, just how you doing, and what are you doing, and how are you? Where is your passion right in your performance right now in COVID?
It's been really difficult, I think. Like it's been difficult for a lot of artists and dancers. Yeah, I'm doing, I'm majoring in dance, getting my BFA in dance remotely, and so still taking Zoom classes. I'm in a rehearsal process right now with a performance artist, and she was the assistant director of Alvin Ailey to Fauna Fraser. So I'm in a performance process with her right now virtually. I'm really diving into like a lot of somatic work, and I'm really interested in like kind of the philosophical idea of like architecture in dance and like how that relates to sustainability and somatics. So yeah, still like learning and dancing and trying to find ways to like be in this moment and figure it out, and yeah, keep dancing.
Okay. Anybody that's not a performer, anybody else want to say anything about anything or to anybody?
I just want to thank Georgie for her past performances in the community. You're a fabulous dancer. We enjoyed you for years, and Center for the Arts was happy to be able to support you in your pursuit of your passion, and we're happy that you're doing so well.
Yeah, and thank you all. Yeah, oh, like pretty much everyone here that I've interacted with has greatly impacted where I am now, and I appreciate it.
Great.
Yeah.
Sue?
I just want to say that several years ago, you did a dance recital for us, Angela, at Whipple Hall. And it was then that I first saw Elizabeth and Christy, mother and daughter. They did a dance that still, I can still see in my mind. It was so wonderful. They had top hat and white shirts and black pants, and they did a wonderful, wonderful dance. And
Yeah, that was based on the Austin Powers Me and Mini Me.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly right.
And Elizabeth was so little, she was Mini
Right.
Christie.
And Elizabeth and Christy, I remember seeing you that night and thinking it was just stunning. And to see you now, so many years, well, not that many, but years later, it was just wonderful to see you. It was such a remarkable performance, all of you. And it was just, as Sharon said, just what we needed on a night like tonight, when we've all been in for so many months. It was just wonderful. Thank you all for the hard work that you did to put this together.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that I just thought this was an amazing experience to watch. What I loved the most was the intimacy that we don't see. We don't get a chance to see that if you're sitting in a big auditorium. But the videography of it all brought us close. We could watch the tap dancers' feet touch the floor. And seeing the fact that you used masks that allowed us to see the smiles of the dancers. That was a pretty special thing to see too. So thank you. The whole thing was fabulous.
Yeah, I got that idea from hearing impaired. They were using those because it helps with the communication. And I thought, I miss seeing my dancers' faces. We've got some stuff coming up. So I made those masks for them for that very reason. So thank you for noticing that. That actually means a lot. Thank you.
Are there any other comments before we say thank you and good night for the evening? Kathy?
Yeah, just one last thing. I wanted to thank Eugene for allowing Center for the Arts to sustain through this COVID time and to not feel like we can't do this. Thank you for knowing that you and many can do this. And Angela, for not being shut down and saying, we can't do a dance thing. How are we going to do a dance thing and how will people see it? And to me, it felt like a renaissance at this time. You didn't allow the pandemic to shut you down and say, we can't do this right now. So you let art come through and create a local renaissance. So thank you.
Passion prevails the pandemic, right? That's what this is all about. Thank you to all of the wonderful dancers. You were fabulous. Thank you, Angela, Kevin, Peter, Kathy, all the participants. It was fabulous to be able to work with you in our small way, not really work with you, but to support you in such a great creative endeavor. And we are very proud to be part of this project. Thank you all. Angela, do you have anything left to say, or?
Just I'm immensely proud of Center for the Arts. I'm as passionate about it as I am with KCPA, and I'm so grateful that I sort of fell into this organization. And I'm proud of us as an organization. I'm proud of the fact that we're nonprofit of the year, and I'm proud. KCPA was last year, and our visions in our relationship is so synergistic. So I just want to say that y'all are wonderful people at CFA, and also KCPA is a wonderful family. And honestly, I'm proud of us for putting our big girl pants on and not giving up.
Yeah. Congratulations to all. Okay, we can't wait to see some live performances coming up soon. Perhaps another redo of this one. That would be fabulous. But anyhow, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for all the work you did. Have a great weekend, and we will see you soon. Good night.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.